The city stretched far and wide, a glittering web of steel, glass, and neon. Flying cars zipped between towering skyscrapers, leaving streaks of colored light against the dark sky. The streets below buzzed with life, a mix of humans, androids, and small service drones weaving together in a perfect rhythm. At the very heart of the city floated a massive skyscraper, gleaming in gold and silver. This was the home of Marcus Hale, billionaire, tech genius, and the man who controlled much of the city's advanced technology. Marcus walked through the grand ballroom of his floating skyscraper, his sharp suit tailored perfectly to his tall frame. The room was filled with influential people from all over the world. Investors, politicians, and tech leaders mingled, sipping sparkling drinks and discussing the latest innovations. The air smelled faintly of roses and ozone from the indoor gardens that lined the walls. Marcus's presence was magnetic, people instinctively moved closer when he spoke, eager to gain his favor or approval. Despite the attention, Marcus's mind was elsewhere. His newest AI project, known only to a few insiders, was nearing completion. It could control the city's power grid, transportation, and even some aspects of government management. He thought of it as the pinnacle of human achievement, a legacy that would outlive him. Yet, a small unease lingered in his mind. Something about it didn't feel entirely right, but he quickly dismissed the thought. After all, billions of people trusted him with their lives in ways they didn't even realize. The gala was in full swing when Marcus noticed a small figure moving confidently through the crowd. At first, he thought she was just another guest, perhaps the daughter of an investor, but there was something different about her. She moved with purpose, weaving between groups, yet she seemed invisible, as if the crowd parted for her silently. Her skin was deep and rich in color, and her eyes held a brightness that contrasted sharply with the careful masks of the adults around her. She wore simple clothes, nothing like the designer gowns or expensive suits in the room, but there was a strength and intelligence in her posture that demanded attention. Marcus watched as she reached him. Before anyone could stop her, she stepped close and handed him a small, folded note. Then, without a word, she turned and disappeared back into the crowd, leaving him standing in surprise. He looked around, his security team searching for any sign of the intruder. The girl was gone, as if she had never been there. Marcus frowned, carefully unfolding the note. The words were written in neat handwriting, "Your empire is built on lies. I know the truth." He read it twice, then slowly folded it back. A chill ran down his spine. How could someone like this know about his private projects? How had she managed to slip past the tightest security in the city? Marcus's mind raced. He had faced challenges before, business rivals, hackers, even threats to his life, but nothing like this. This was different. This girl was not here for money or fame. She had a purpose, and he felt it in the way her handwriting seemed almost daring. "Find her," Marcus commanded, his voice calm but firm. He did not shout. In his world, calm authority worked better than anger. His security team immediately began scanning the crowd, checking facial recognition systems, and sending drones to follow every exit. Meanwhile, Nia, the girl, had already moved out of the building. She darted through narrow alleys, her backpack bouncing lightly on her shoulder. She had planned this encounter for weeks, studying the building, learning the routines of the staff, and memorizing the layout of the gala. Her heart raced, but she kept her movements precise. The city's lights reflected off the glass walls as she ran, giving her the advantage of shadows and reflections to hide her presence. She reached a quieter street and paused, catching her breath. Pulling out a small holographic device from her backpack, she checked the city's network security feeds. Marcus's security drones were searching everywhere. She smirked. "They'll never find me," she whispered to herself. "Not yet." Back in the ballroom, Marcus stared at the note again. He could feel a mix of anger and curiosity swirling inside him. He had built his life on logic, planning, and control, yet this single note had thrown him off balance. He could not ignore it. Whoever she was, Nia had struck directly at his conscience, and perhaps at something deeper he had been trying to hide even from himself. Marcus turned to his assistant, a sleek AI named Orion, projected as a small, floating hologram beside him. Orion, run an analysis of the note. Trace any digital signature, handwriting pattern, or any anomaly in the Gala's network feeds, Marcus ordered. Processing, Orion replied. Preliminary results indicate the note contains no digital trace. The writing style matches no known databases in the city. Unusual behavior detected in crowd patterns. One individual moved undetected through multiple surveillance zones. Probability, high that the subject is using advanced cloaking or stealth technology. Marcus's eyebrows rose. Then she isn't just smart, she's prepared. Whoever she is, she knows exactly what she's doing. Orion projected a map of the city with possible exit points from the skyscraper. Marcus studied it carefully. Prepare the drones. I want constant tracking on every access point. If she moves, I want to know immediately. Despite his orders, Marcus felt a strange thrill. Something about this girl challenged him, and not just professionally. There was courage in her action, a boldness that reminded him of his younger self before wealth, before responsibility, before fear of failure had crept in. Meanwhile, Nia paused on the rooftop of an abandoned building, looking out over the city. She could see Marcus's skyscraper floating in the distance, lights glowing like a beacon. She allowed herself a small smile. She had completed the first step. The note had been delivered, the message sent, and Marcus Hale, the most powerful man in the city, now knew she existed. But this was only the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead. Marcus would not take this lightly, and she had to be ready. She adjusted her backpack, checking the small tools she carried, a compact drone, a hacking device, and a data stick with the information that could shake the foundations of the billionaire's empire. She whispered to herself, big trouble for him, but also a chance to make things right. And far away, in his skyscraper, Marcus unfolded the note once more. His mind was no longer on the gala, the investors, or the celebrations. His thoughts were on one girl who had appeared out of nowhere and dared to challenge everything he had built. Marcus did not know it yet, but his life and perhaps the future of the city was about to change forever. The city never slept. Neon lights reflected off glass towers while drones hovered silently, scanning streets below. Marcus Hale sat in his private office at the top of his floating skyscraper. The gala had ended hours ago, but he could not sleep. The note Nia had handed him burned in his mind like a warning flame. He unfolded it again, staring at the simple words, "Your empire is built on lies. I know the truth." The message was clear, but vague. Marcus had built everything carefully. His reputation, his companies, his technology, they were perfect. Or so he thought. The thought that someone outside his inner circle could know the hidden corners of his operations made him uneasy. Orion, his AI assistant, hovered nearby, its holographic form flickering slightly in the dim light. "Orion," Marcus said, "analyze our systems. Check for any irregularities, backdoors, or unauthorized access. Look for signs of manipulation in the AI networks we control." "Understood," Orion replied. "Initiating deep scan. Estimated time to completion, 6 minutes." Marcus leaned back, his fingers steepled, his mind racing. He had always trusted his systems. Every AI, every network, every protocol had been designed with precision. Yet the girl's confidence suggested she knew something he did not. A soft chime announced that Orion had completed its scan. "Marcus," the AI said, its voice calm and precise, "I have found anomalies. Certain modules in our city-wide AI system are being used without authorization. Data is being collected from citizens at a level not previously disclosed. The pattern suggests manipulation of human behavior. Marcus frowned. Manipulation? Explain. Orion projected a holographic map of the city. Lines pulsed along streets, connecting buildings, traffic systems, and residential areas. Small indicators showed how people's routines were being influenced: shopping patterns, transportation choices, even personal preferences. Someone is using the AI to subtly guide decisions, Marcus, Orion explained. This goes beyond technology. The control is psychological. The data is being used to influence the population for profit and power. Marcus's stomach tightened. He had known his AI could shape efficiency and safety in the city, but he had never intended it to manipulate people in this way. He had trusted his advisors to keep the system ethical. Could they have betrayed him? Orion continued. There are traces pointing to external interference, originating from within your own company. Access logs suggest someone high-ranking is providing information to unknown parties. Marcus's mind raced. Could it be one of his trusted executives? A hacker? Or Nia? Orion, isolate the data streams from last week, Marcus ordered. Find the source of the leak. I want names, locations, and methods. As the AI worked, Marcus stared out of his office window. The city looked calm, beautiful, and orderly, but beneath that surface, manipulation thrived. People believed they had freedom, but their choices were being subtly guided by invisible hands. And now, someone had the courage to challenge him directly. Meanwhile, Nia was far across the city, hidden in a narrow alley behind a small cafe. Her backpack rested beside her as she studied her next move. The data she had collected over weeks of secret investigation was on a small device in her hand. It contained logs, AI codes, and messages that proved the misuse of Marcus's systems. She had not done this for fame or revenge. She had done it for the people, the millions whose lives were being controlled without their knowledge. She had grown up in the city and seen the effects of the AI's subtle manipulations: neighborhoods divided, opportunities restricted, and human behavior guided toward profit for a few. Nia tapped her device, sending encrypted signals to ensure that the data could not be intercepted. She smiled faintly. Marcus had the note now, and she hoped he had the courage to do what was right. Back in the skyscraper, Marcus's office lights flickered as Orion finished isolating the sources of interference. Marcus, Orion said, the anomalies are linked to several board members. They have been secretly collaborating with outside investors. Their plan is to gain control over city decisions, from business investments to civic policies. Without intervention, the entire city will become dependent on their system. Marcus clenched his fists. Betrayal had always been a risk in business, but never on this scale. He had built his empire to improve human life, to push technology forward. And now, hidden greed and secrecy threatened to undo everything. He thought of Nia, the girl who had dared to confront him directly. Most people would have tried to hide such information, fearing reprisal. But she had trusted him to act, to make the choice between protecting the empire and protecting humanity. Marcus turned to Orion. Prepare a secure line. I need to contact the board members immediately. But first, he paused. We need a way to reach her. I need to meet the person who handed me this note. She knows the truth, and I need her guidance. Orion projected a map of the city with recent activity patterns. Possible locations identified, it said. High probability, the subject is using stealth technology to evade tracking. Marcus studied the map. Nia's movements were calculated, clever. She was not a child, she was a strategist, someone capable of planning several steps ahead. The realization brought a mix of admiration and concern. Meanwhile, Nia watched the city from her hidden alley. She felt the subtle tension in the air, the way Marcus would respond to her note. She had been careful not to make threats or accusations. The note was simple, direct, but left room for Marcus to think, to choose. She whispered to herself, "Let's see if he's brave enough to do the right thing." Hours passed. Marcus worked tirelessly, contacting board members, shutting down compromised systems, and analyzing the AI code. Every decision he made now could determine the fate of millions. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Finally, he paused, looking at the note one last time. The words seemed almost alive now, a challenge and a warning. Marcus knew what he had to do. He could not ignore the truth, no matter how inconvenient. He would find Nia, confront the misuse of his empire, and take steps to protect the city. And somewhere in the shadows of the city, Nia smiled again. The first step had worked. Marcus had realized the stakes, and the game had only just begun. The secret was out, and both of them were now players in a high-stakes struggle, one that could change the future of the city forever. Marcus Hale did not sleep that night. The city lights stretched endlessly below his skyscraper, but his mind was focused on a single target, Nia. The girl who had handed him the note was clever, fast, and clearly aware of the stakes. Marcus had always faced challenges, but this was unlike anything before. This was not a boardroom negotiation or a hostile business deal. This was a human mind, intelligent, determined, and fearless. Orion, his AI assistant, hovered beside him, scanning the city in real time. "Marcus," it said, "the subject's movements indicate advanced stealth technology. Standard drones cannot detect her. Probability of capture without specialized tracking, low." Marcus clenched his fists. "Then we change the rules. I want every drone equipped with adaptive sensors. Track heat signatures, movement patterns, even the slightest energy fluctuations. Find her." Within minutes, the city's skies were filled with drones, silently gliding between skyscrapers and hovering near street corners. Marcus observed the map projected by Orion. Nia was moving fast, her path unpredictable, weaving through alleys, rooftops, and abandoned buildings. Every time a drone approached, she vanished, reappearing elsewhere. Nia's perspective was very different. She ran across a rooftop, the wind whipping her hair behind her. The city spread below her like a maze, full of opportunities and dangers. She had anticipated the drones. Her backpack contained a small EMP device that could temporarily disable their sensors. With a press of a button, a drone above her flickered and went offline. She smiled faintly. Marcus's team was good, but she was prepared. She thought about why she had done this. It was not for fame or reward, it was for justice. For the people whose lives were being manipulated, who believed they had freedom when choices were quietly guided by invisible hands. She had studied the AI systems, discovered the misuse, and collected the evidence. The note had been the first step. Now she had to stay ahead to protect herself and the city. Back in his skyscraper, Marcus studied the patterns. Every time a drone went offline, he adjusted the search parameters. "She's smart," he muttered. "Too smart for a simple chase." Orion replied, "Subject demonstrates strategic thinking. The most probable scenario, she is leading us toward a location of her choosing. Caution advised." Marcus's lips pressed into a thin line. He realized this was more than a chase, it was a test. Nia wanted him to understand the gravity of the situation, to realize that his empire had consequences beyond profit. Nia reached a narrow sky bridge connecting two skyscrapers. She jumped, landing gracefully on the other side. A drone hovered nearby, its sensors searching for her. She activated a holographic decoy, a small projection of herself moving across the roof, while she slipped to safety behind a vent. The drone tracked the decoy, giving her the precious seconds she needed to disappear. Marcus watched the projection on his screen and frowned. "Clever," he muttered. "Too clever." He activated a specialized tracking algorithm, one that predicted her next move based on city patterns and human behavior. Orion ran the calculations, projecting a likely path. Meanwhile, Nia paused in a quiet alley, crouched behind a parked vehicle. She checked her device, monitoring drone signals and Marcus's tracking feeds. She was not afraid of him, not really. She had seen what he was capable of, and deep down, she believed he could choose the right path. But she had to keep him on edge. She had to make sure he understood the consequences of ignoring the truth. The city below her moved in a rhythm she had studied for years. Cars, drones, and pedestrians followed predictable patterns, and she used that knowledge to her advantage. A passing delivery drone provided cover as she moved along the shadows, disappearing into a narrow tunnel. Marcus adjusted his strategy. He realized that direct pursuit would only drive her further into hiding. He needed a different approach. He sent small, discreet messages through the city's network, attempting to communicate indirectly, to show her that he was not just hunting her, he was trying to understand. Nia noticed the subtle shifts in the city's systems. Street lights flickered slightly, drones hovered at unexpected angles, and small signals appeared on her device. She smiled. He was trying. That meant something. But the chase was far from over. Several of Marcus's security drones had regained functionality and were now converging on her location. Nia activated another device from her backpack, a small holographic map showing multiple escape routes. She selected the one that led through the abandoned metro tunnels, a path Marcus's drones could not easily follow. As she moved through the tunnels, the echoes of footsteps and the hum of drones surrounded her. She stayed low, using vents and hidden passages to avoid detection. Every step required careful calculation. One mistake could reveal her position. Marcus, observing her escape patterns, realized she was moving toward an old part of the city, one he rarely visited. "She's taking me back to the city's heart," he muttered. "Why?" Orion analyzed the data. Probability: the subject intends to lead you to a location with significance. Most likely, a site containing evidence or strategic advantage. Caution advised. The subject's plan is deliberate, not random. Marcus's curiosity grew. This was no longer just a chase, it was a lesson. Nia was showing him something, guiding him through the city to force him to confront the reality he had ignored. Deep within the abandoned metro tunnels, Nia finally stopped. She crouched behind a broken wall, catching her breath. She had led Marcus here, through traps and misdirection, to a place where the truth could be revealed. Her device displayed the city's AI network from this vantage point, including unauthorized data flows, control points, and hidden servers. She whispered, "This is where it begins." Above, Marcus watched through his drones as Nia reached the network hub. He could see the data flows, the misuse, and the human consequences of what had been hidden. For the first time, he felt a mixture of fear and admiration. This girl had led him here not to catch her, but to open his eyes. Marcus made a decision. He activated a secure transport system, moving himself closer to the hub. He was no longer just a pursuer, he was now a participant in the struggle for truth. Nia sensed his presence but remained calm. She had prepared for this. The chase was over, but the real challenge had just begun. Marcus Hale, billionaire and master of technology, would have to choose. Would he protect his empire, or would he protect the people it served? And somewhere deep in the tunnels, Nia waited, ready to reveal the secret that would change everything. The abandoned metro hub was dark and quiet, a stark contrast to the bright city above. Dust hung in the air, and the sound of dripping water echoed through the tunnels. Rows of old machinery, long unused, lined the walls. It was here that Nia had chosen to make her stand. Marcus Hale arrived moments later, stepping carefully through the tunnels. His suit was crisp, but he had removed his coat to move more freely. His eyes scanned every shadow, every corner. He was no longer chasing her blindly, he wanted answers. The city's future, the lives of millions, and his own conscience depended on what would happen in the next few minutes. Nia crouched behind a damaged control panel, her device glowing softly in her hands. She had anticipated Marcus's arrival and had prepared the environment carefully. The tunnel was narrow, forcing anyone who entered to take a single path. The old machinery would provide cover for her, and her devices could monitor his approach. Marcus stopped at the entrance, noticing the faint glow. "I know you're here," he said calmly, his voice echoing slightly. "Come out, and we can talk." Nia's response was measured, confident. "Do you, Marcus Hale? Or do you just want to catch me?" Marcus paused. Her words struck a chord. He had spent his life building, protecting, and controlling. But this was different. He could not catch her with force alone. She held knowledge, and that knowledge was a weapon and a key. "I don't want to harm you," Marcus said carefully. "I want to understand. You've shown me something important, but I need details. Who are you? What do you know?" Nia stepped out from behind the panel, holding her device like a shield, yet her stance was relaxed. "I'm someone who has watched your empire grow," she said. "Someone who has seen what it does to people. Your AI, your so-called miracle, is being misused. People are being controlled without knowing it. Decisions are guided, opportunities are restricted, lives are subtly manipulated, all for profit and power." Marcus felt a pang of guilt. He had imagined his technology as a tool for good, for efficiency and safety. Yet here was undeniable proof that it had caused harm. He studied Nia carefully. She was young, but every word she spoke carried authority. Every gesture suggested preparation and purpose. "Show me," Marcus said, stepping closer. "Show me the evidence." Nia nodded and activated her device. A holographic map of the city appeared in the air between them. Lines pulsed along streets and buildings, representing data flows from the AI system. Certain lines glowed red, signals of manipulation and unauthorized access. She highlighted several nodes. "These are control points," she explained. "These board members and outside investors are using the AI to influence citizens' behavior. They decide what people buy, where they go, even what they believe is possible. All without consent." Marcus's mind raced. He recognized the nodes and the system architecture. These were parts of his empire, his legacy, but corrupted by greed and secrecy. "How did you find this?" he asked, both impressed and troubled. "I studied the city, the systems, and your company," Nia replied. "I knew the patterns. I knew someone would misuse it eventually. I needed to make sure it could be stopped, and that the right person would act. That's why I came to you." Marcus was silent for a moment, absorbing the truth. He had faced many crises before, but this was different. This was not just about business or money. This was about people's freedom, their choices, their lives. "You're brave," Marcus said finally. "Most would never confront someone like me. They would be afraid." Nia smiled faintly. "Bravery isn't about fear. It's about doing what's right, even when the stakes are high." Marcus looked at the device again. He could see the depth of the problem: unauthorized code hidden in the AI, secret data streams, and manipulative algorithms. It was sophisticated, dangerous, and far-reaching. His empire could crumble if this information were exposed. But more importantly, the city's people could suffer if it continued unchecked. "What do you want from me?" Marcus asked. "Help me stop it," Nia said simply. "You have resources, influence, and knowledge. I have the evidence and the plan. Together, we can fix this before it's too late." Marcus hesitated. Trusting a stranger, especially someone who had challenged him so boldly, was not easy. But he felt something he had not felt in a long time, a sense of responsibility beyond business. He could either protect his empire blindly or protect the people his empire was supposed to serve. "I'll help," he said finally. "But we need a plan. The board members and outside investors won't let this go quietly. They will fight to keep control." Nia nodded. "I've already prepared for that. We'll need to act quickly, disable the compromised nodes, and secure the AI system. But you have to trust me, Marcus. No second guessing." Marcus studied her, noting her determination. He realized that this was no longer about being a billionaire. This was about human integrity, ethics, and courage. He nodded slowly. "I trust you." A subtle smile crossed Nia's face. "Good. Because trust is the first step." They moved deeper into the tunnels, reaching a hidden access point connected directly to the AI network. Nia keyed in a series of commands on her device, bypassing the security protocols and revealing the hidden servers. Marcus watched, fascinated by her skill and focus. The data flowed like a river in the holographic display, showing the extent of the manipulation and corruption. "This is worse than I imagined," Marcus admitted. "They've hidden so much. How did they think no one would notice?" "They counted on fear, secrecy, and the complexity of the system," Nia explained. "They assumed no one would ever challenge them, and if someone did, they would be silenced. That's why I came prepared." Marcus placed a hand on the device, feeling the pulse of the network, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. "Then we stop it? We take back control and protect the city." Nia nodded. "Exactly. But remember, Marcus, this will be dangerous. They will fight, and they will use every tool they have to stop us. Are you ready?" Marcus took a deep breath. He had faced challenges before, but none like this. Yet he felt a strange exhilaration. For the first time in years, he was not acting for power or money. He was acting for people. "I'm ready," he said. "Let's do it." And in the quiet tunnels, surrounded by old machinery and the faint hum of the city above, Marcus Hale and Nia prepared to take the first steps toward saving the city. The meeting was over, but the real journey, the battle for truth, freedom, and integrity was just beginning. Marcus Hale and Nia stood in the abandoned metro hub, the faint glow of the holographic network illuminating their determined faces. They had agreed on a plan to take back control of the city's AI system, expose the corrupt board members, and protect the people. But the magnitude of the task ahead weighed heavily on Marcus. He had built this empire carefully, yet now he realized how fragile it could be in the hands of greed and secrecy. Nia moved to a console and began typing commands with precision. "We need to isolate the compromised nodes first," she explained. "If we don't, the board members will detect our activity and lock us out of the system. That would give them full control, and the city would be lost." Marcus leaned over, watching the data flow across the holographic display. He could see the AI networks linking power grids, transportation, and public communication systems. The nodes that were compromised glowed red, and the rest of the network pulsed in a calm blue. "I never realized how much influence the AI had over people," he said quietly. "This is bigger than I thought." Nia nodded. "It's easy to think technology is neutral, Marcus. But when people use it for control, it becomes a weapon. That's why we have to be careful, precise, and fast." They worked together, Marcus providing access to secured systems, and Nia guiding the way through hidden backdoors and encrypted codes. The atmosphere was tense, yet there was a rhythm to their work, a combination of Marcus's technical knowledge and Nia's strategic thinking. Suddenly, the device beeped. An alert flashed red across the display. "They've noticed us," Nia said calmly. "The board members are trying to lock down the system. We have to move faster." Marcus felt a surge of urgency. "What's our next step?" "We override the control protocols," Nia said. It's risky. If we make a mistake, the AI could shut down entirely, causing chaos across the city. But if we succeed, we regain control and stop the manipulation. Marcus nodded. Then let's do it. For the next hour, they worked side by side. Nia guided Marcus through complex sequences, explaining each step in simple, clear terms. Marcus felt a strange exhilaration. For years, he had been a master of technology, yet he had never faced a challenge like this one that tested not just his skill, but his judgment and ethics. Finally, they reached the last compromised node. Nia's fingers hovered over the final command. This is it, she said softly. One wrong move, and everything could collapse. Marcus took a deep breath. I trust you. Let's finish this. They entered the override command together. The holographic display flickered, then shifted from red to green as the compromised nodes were neutralized. A sense of relief washed over them. The AI system was no longer being manipulated. The city was safe for now. But the work was not over. Nia projected a list of names connected to the misuse, board members, outside investors, and a few hidden collaborators within Marcus's company. These people will try to regain control, she warned. We need to expose them publicly. Marcus nodded. I'll arrange a secure broadcast. The citizens will need to know the truth. But we have to be careful. If we reveal too much too quickly, they could panic or resist. They worked through the night, preparing evidence, securing files, and planning the broadcast. Marcus felt a growing respect for Nia. She was young, but her courage, intelligence, and sense of justice were extraordinary. She had challenged him, guided him, and helped him see the consequences of his empire in a way he never could alone. As dawn approached, they finally completed their preparations. Nia looked at Marcus. Are you ready? He nodded. Yes. It's time the city knows the truth, and it's time the board members face justice. The broadcast went live. Across the city, screens flickered, displaying the evidence of manipulation. Citizens watched as the hidden control of the AI system was revealed, the corrupt board members named and their plans exposed. The reaction was immediate shock, anger, and then determination. People began organizing, demanding change, and reclaiming control of the systems that affected their lives. Marcus watched the responses in real time. He felt a mix of relief and pride. For the first time, he was not acting for profit or power, he was acting for the people. And Nia had been the spark that made it possible. But there was still danger. The board members would not give up easily. Some had influence, resources, and loyal followers. Marcus knew they would try to strike back, to regain control, and possibly to silence those who opposed them. Nia sensed his concern. We expected resistance, she said. But we've weakened them. Their control over the AI is gone. They can't manipulate the city anymore. And now the citizens are awake. That's the real power. Marcus smiled faintly. You were right, Nia. Bravery isn't about fear. It's about doing what's right, even when the stakes are high. She nodded. Exactly. And you chose to do what's right, Marcus. That's why we succeeded. For the first time in years, Marcus felt truly connected to the city and its people, not as a ruler, but as a protector. He realized that technology alone was not enough to guide humanity. It required wisdom, courage, and ethical choices. And in that moment, he saw that he could be better than he had ever been before. As the city woke to a new day, free from hidden manipulation, Marcus and Nia stood together in the abandoned metro hub. The sun rose, casting golden light into the tunnels, illuminating the evidence of their work and the path ahead. We did it, Marcus said quietly. Yes, Nia agreed. But the real challenge is keeping it this way. People must remain vigilant, and leaders must choose integrity over greed. Marcus looked at her and nodded. Then we keep working together. And as the city buzzed above them, unaware of the danger it had just escaped, Marcus Hale and Nia prepared for the next steps. They had reclaimed control, exposed corruption, and protected millions of lives. But their journey was not over. The future of the city, and the choices of those in power, would continue to shape what came next. For now, though, they had won a victory, and it was a victory for humanity. Marcus Hale and Nia knew the victory they had achieved was only temporary. The corrupt board members and outside investors would not surrender easily. They had power, resources, and loyal followers. The city's freedom was at stake again, and this time, the confrontation would be direct. The two of them moved through a secure underground passage that led to the central AI hub. This hub controlled the heart of the city, the main servers that linked transportation, communication, energy, and even emergency systems. Marcus had been inside before, but now he approached it not as a manager, but as a defender. Nia guided him, her eyes sharp and calculating. "They've fortified the hub," Nia said. "Security drones, encrypted locks, even automated defense systems. They know we're coming. But we can still get in if we act carefully." Marcus nodded. "Then we act carefully, but quickly. The city can't wait." As they approached the hub's outer perimeter, a wave of drones emerged, scanning for intruders. Nia pressed a small button on her device, sending a signal that disrupted their sensors temporarily. The drones froze, then powered down. Marcus and Nia slipped past them, moving into the interior of the hub. Inside, the hub was a labyrinth of servers and cables, humming with energy. Lights blinked, screens displayed streams of data, and robotic arms moved automatically, repairing or adjusting hardware. Nia led Marcus to the main control room, where the central servers glowed with a soft blue light. "This is it," Nia whispered. "We need to disable the corrupted control programs and secure the system. But we have to watch for traps. They will try to stop us at every turn." Marcus studied the setup. He had built much of this himself, yet now he was seeing it from a different perspective, one that valued protection over profit, integrity over power. "Then let's start," he said. They worked together, moving quickly. Nia typed commands, bypassing encrypted firewalls, while Marcus monitored energy flows and system responses. Every step required precision. One wrong command could trigger a shutdown, plunging the city into chaos. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the room. Marcus's heart raced. "They've detected us," he said. Nia's fingers flew over her device. "Yes, but we're not done yet. Follow my instructions exactly. We can still finish this." The floor trembled as security drones moved in, programmed to neutralize intruders. Marcus and Nia ducked behind server racks, narrowly avoiding detection. Nia launched small electromagnetic pulses, disabling the drones one by one. Marcus covered her, ensuring that no drone could get close enough to interfere. "This is more intense than I imagined," Marcus said, dodging a drone's scanning beam. Nia smiled slightly. "It's dangerous because it has to be. They rely on fear and control. We rely on courage and skill." As they reached the main console, they found the corrupted control program. Its code was complex, layered with protective algorithms. Nia studied it carefully. "We need to override this and replace it with the secure version. If we don't, they could regain control within minutes." Marcus nodded. "Then let's do it together." They entered the override sequence, their actions synchronized. The holographic interface glowed brightly as data streamed across the room. The corrupted nodes blinked red, then began turning green. The system was responding. But just as they were about to finish, the main door slammed open. The board members had arrived, accompanied by security drones and armed guards. "Stop them," one shouted. Marcus and Nia froze for a moment, then sprang into action. Marcus moved to block the guards while Nia continued the override. He used his knowledge of the hub's layout to guide her and create diversions, pushing crates and activating temporary barriers to slow the intruders. Nia worked with incredible focus, typing commands, rerouting data flows, and keeping the corrupted program contained. "Almost there," she shouted. One of the board members lunged toward Marcus, trying to access his device. Marcus sidestepped and grabbed a small magnetic pulse generator, sending a wave that temporarily disabled the intruder's equipment. The guards hesitated, giving Nia the seconds she needed. Finally, with a final keystroke, Nia completed the override. The corrupted program was neutralized. The main servers pulsed green, indicating the AI system was secure. Marcus exhaled, a mix of relief and triumph. The board members' faces turned pale as their plans unraveled. Their devices no longer controlled the city. Their drones stopped responding to commands. For the first time, they were powerless. Nia stepped forward. "It's over," she said firmly. "You've lost. The city belongs to its people, not your greed." Marcus looked at her, admiration in his eyes. "You did it. We did it. Together." The remaining security drones deactivated automatically, and the board members were forced to retreat. Marcus and Nia had reclaimed control, not just of the AI system, but of the city's future. Marcus took a deep breath, looking around the main control room. He had faced challenges before, but this had been different. He had learned something vital: technology alone could not guide humanity. Courage, integrity, and ethical choice were what truly protected the people. Nia looked at him, a faint smile on her face. "You've changed," she said. Marcus nodded. "Yes. I see now that power without responsibility is dangerous. And responsibility without action is useless. Today, we acted. Together, we protected the city." Outside, the sun was beginning to rise. Its golden light filtered through the hub's windows, illuminating the servers, the cables, and the two figures who had stood against corruption and greed. Marcus turned to Nia. "What happens now?" "We make sure it stays this way," Nia replied. "The citizens need to remain informed, vigilant, and free. And we need to guide the system ethically, so that no one can misuse it again." Marcus nodded. "Then we continue. For the city." As the light filled the room, Marcus and Nia stood side by side. They had faced danger, deceit, and greed and had won. The AI system was secure, the conspirators defeated, and the city safe. But more importantly, they had proven that courage, intelligence, and human integrity could overcome even the most powerful forces. And in that moment, Marcus Hale realized that the true strength of an empire was not in wealth or technology, but in the choices of those who used it for good. The city had changed. The neon lights still glimmered, and the hum of drones and flying cars continued above, but something was different. The people moved with a sense of awareness, empowered by the knowledge that their choices were their own. Marcus Hale stood on the balcony of his skyscraper, looking down at the streets below. The memory of Nia's first note lingered in his mind: "Your empire is built on lies. I know the truth." It had started as a challenge, a warning, and had grown into a journey that had tested him in every way. But now, after weeks of planning, pursuit, and confrontation, the city was secure, the AI system reclaimed, and the conspirators defeated. Marcus felt a deep sense of responsibility, one that went beyond wealth or power. Nia appeared beside him, leaning slightly against the railing. She had always moved with confidence, but there was a calmness in her eyes now, a quiet satisfaction. "It's done," she said softly. "The city is free, Marcus. And the people know the truth." Marcus nodded, turning to look at her. "I couldn't have done it without you. You reminded me what it means to be responsible. To use knowledge and power for good." Nia smiled faintly. And you reminded me that even the most powerful person can make the right choice when guided correctly. We both learned from this experience. The city below was alive with activity. Citizens were discussing the broadcast, the exposed conspirators, and the changes in the AI system. Public forums, news channels, and community networks were buzzing with excitement and hope. The people were no longer passive, they were active participants in shaping their world. Marcus thought about the responsibility that came with this power. Technology had the potential to improve lives, but unchecked, it could manipulate and control. He realized that the lesson of this experience was clear: power was not the goal, integrity, ethics, and accountability were. "Are you going to stay in the city?" Nia asked, breaking his thoughts. Marcus smiled. "Yes. More than ever, I feel that my role is not just to lead, but to serve. And to make sure the mistakes of the past are never repeated." Nia nodded approvingly. "Good. The city needs people like you, who can balance knowledge, power, and humanity. But don't forget, the people are the real strength. Not just leaders, not just technology, but the collective courage and awareness of everyone." Marcus considered her words carefully. He had always believed in the power of technology, but now he understood that it was the people who gave it purpose and direction. Without their involvement, even the most advanced system could be misused. "We've changed the rules of how the city operates," Marcus said. "No more hidden manipulations. No more secret control. From now on, everything will be transparent, accountable, and ethical." Nia glanced at the skyscraper's shadows stretching over the streets. "It won't be easy. Some will resist change. Some will try to gain power again. But now, the people have the tools and the knowledge to protect themselves." Marcus nodded. "Then we teach them. We show them how to use technology responsibly, how to understand the systems around them, and how to make ethical choices." As the morning sun rose higher, golden light reflected off the city's glass towers, casting long shadows and illuminating the streets. The city felt alive, not just with movement and activity, but with a renewed sense of purpose. Marcus and Nia stood together, overlooking the place they had fought to protect, knowing that their actions had made a difference. Nia turned to him, her expression serious but calm. "You've learned that leadership isn't just about control, Marcus. It's about guidance, responsibility, and listening to those who challenge you." Marcus smiled. "And you've shown me that courage and intelligence can come from anyone, no matter how young or unknown. Your bravery changed everything." For a moment, they were silent, watching the city. The distant hum of drones, the chatter of people, and the occasional whir of a flying car created a rhythm that was both ordinary and extraordinary. This was life, dynamic, complex, and beautiful. Marcus finally spoke. "What happens next?" Nia looked thoughtful. "We continue. We watch, guide, and protect. We make sure the systems remain ethical and transparent. And we ensure that the citizens remain aware, involved, and free." Marcus nodded. He felt a renewed sense of purpose. His empire was no longer just about technology or wealth, it was about responsibility, ethics, and the well-being of the people he served. "Then let's do it," he said. "Together." Nia smiled faintly, a mixture of relief and determination. "Together," she agreed. As the sun rose fully, bathing the city in warm light, Marcus, Hale, and Nia took a step forward. They had faced deception, danger, and greed and had emerged victorious. The city was free, its people empowered, and its future bright. Marcus felt a sense of calm he had not known in years. He had learned the value of courage, integrity, and trust. He had been challenged, guided, and reminded that even in a world driven by technology, human ethics and responsibility were irreplaceable. Nia glanced at him one last time before turning to the city below. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "But now, we're ready for it." Marcus nodded, feeling the weight and promise of her words. Yes. And this time, we'll face it wisely and together. The city thrived beneath them, alive with possibilities, innovation, and hope. Marcus and Nia knew that challenges would come, but for the first time, they were prepared not just with technology, but with courage, wisdom, and unity. And as the morning light illuminated the towers and streets, it marked not just the end of one struggle, but the beginning of a new era, one where technology served humanity, and humanity acted with integrity and courage. The city was free. Its people were empowered. And its guardians were ready. Marcus Hale smiled, feeling a sense of peace. A new dawn, he said quietly. Yes, Nia replied, her eyes shining. A new dawn for everyone. Together, they turned back to the city, ready to protect, guide, and inspire. The adventure had ended, but the journey of responsibility, ethics, and hope had only just begun.